Hey everyone, Rick from Rick's RC and More. I've got the DDT-7 in front of me. I just removed the motor. You have to remove the motor to do what I'm going to do here because two of the screws, the motor mounts, actually go into the outer casing here that you have to take off. It's not hard to get the motor out at all. It's 4 bolts to hold the motor and your throttle linkage and your fuel lines. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to install this. I'm going to install this emergency cutoff switch. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to put in a receiver for my my Spectrum system here. I've only got 2 vehicles that I run off of this, and it'll run up to more than 10 anyway. I don't really care for the Fly Sky that came with this. It's just a cheap RTR radio. So yeah, I'm gonna get into this, and this here will ensure if you have any issue at all, if you lose radio signal, obviously this isn't gonna work. But receivers generally have built into them a fail-safe where it should apply the brakes and release the throttle. But if you have an issue where a servo fails or something like that and your throttle is wide open, then it's gonna be a runaway. It's gonna stay wide open. So you hook this up to an auxiliary channel on your radio and hit a button, and this should kill your motor. It might have a fail-safe built into it as well. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to find out. We're going to install this guy and have our remote kill switch. Wasn't going to do a whole long video on this, but I don't know, I guess I will do a video of pulling these out. So you're gonna need some Allen head. What size is this? This is a 4mm for the 4 bottom side bolt covers here. You shouldn't have to take the recoil off separate. You should be able to just take this housing off. And the top, it's got some Phillips. Got a good bite. That's just going into plastic, so don't over tighten when you put this back together. There's your recoil, your housing assembly. Here's your kill switch for your motor. There's your coil, and I think you do have to take the coil off. That grommet out of there to get to the back here. And what do we got for sizes for it? Is a 3mm. Now there's probably going to be some spacers in behind there. And there's a ground here running off of that. Remember where that goes. You have to gap these. There's the business card trick if you don't have any type of feeler gauges for gapping. And this is magnetic. Oh, yeah, there's one of the spacers just come out. And there's the other spacer. These spacers the same size? Yes, they are. And so there's your coil. Now this is where this guy comes into play. Now it's got this little interference clip here. Depending on your motor setup, you might have to pop that off and pop it back on later. We will see. I'm gonna see what goes where here, and I'll get back to you. So I've run into my first snag, particularly it's probably this motor. It's got the spade for your connector on this side, but not this side, because the original wiring harness on that side, the ground side isn't a spade connector like this. It's your eyelet. It's an eyelet instead. So that means that this here has got to be replaced with an eyelet. So I just so happen to have one I think is going to work. I've also got a fork style here, because that one's kind of used. So let's see here. So if you're going to do this yourself at home, just remember that you're gonna need to buy an eyelet to crimp on. You're gonna have to cut this off and put an eyelet on there. Unfortunately, this eyelet I've got in here looks like it was been used. I don't know if it would crimp on or not. I also have these gold fork ones from back in my big car stereo days, and that one's pretty small, so that one should work. So now it kind of sucks that they didn't just do that coil like any other style. So now I'm cutting brand new parts, and now I've got to strip this and crimp this thing on. Is what it is. I do have to go get my wire strippers though, so I will be back in a second. All right, so I got that crimped on the wire, and that'll ground out there. An eyelet would be more ideal. I don't have one, and I don't really want to walk away from this and whatnot. So this button is still going to function with this setup, so you don't need to worry about that at all. You can still shut your motor off with this button. Next, we're going to have to put our spacers back in, get our coil back in place, and then, like I say, you may have to remove this filter. We'll see. And I need to go get a business card and space the coil out. All right, let's get this business card. Get the business card in there, and then get the magnetic side lined up, and that'll put the coil right in place where it needs to be for you. And then all you gotta do is just tighten the coil back down, and it should be gapped properly. Make sure these are tight. And we should have a proper gap there. So now we got to route this. Now, your stop button is still going to have to go into your fan cover here. And then you got to route this. So probably going to have to route it down and out the back here. They do have a spot where you can route a wire there, but that looks a little thick for that. So let me pop this little magnetic cover off. It's got little wee tabs in there. This is just a filter for your electronics. There we go. So really don't want to mount that quite so close to that head. I wonder if it will fit this little hole in this grommet. Well, that's still pretty close to the head, so I don't think it's really going to matter. Probably going to have to route it. I want to route it out towards my electronic side, so probably down through here. Like so. Hopefully these wires don't, hopefully that shielding protects them from the heat. I'm going to start buttoning stuff up here. Alright, so honestly, I don't really like just running that out along that head. That's going to be pretty hot there. I might have to take a little bit of material out of this plastic and run it out there. That to me just seems looking for trouble on melting some wires. All right, so I've got that all installed. It's tricky to get everything back together here. What I did is I just I notched out this plastic to bring the wire out here, just to kind of keep it right away from the fins in the head, because that's where a lot of your heat is. Now it would be a matter of hooking up everything else in the receivers. That might be another video. It's hot out here in my shop. I'm starting to sweat pretty good. I'm on afternoons. I also have to go to work today, so maybe I'll get into the rest of it at another video. So far we've done good here. We've got that part all installed. I may take the plug out and just check, make sure I have spark. Might be a good idea for you to do that yourself, and then make sure that your button on the motor itself still working, and then we'll move on from there. But yeah, we'll try to keep this video short, and I'll end it there. I've got that part done. It's just a matter of putting the motor back in and wiring everything up. So we'll see you in the next one. Everybody, get out and enjoy your RCs.